Welcome to another episode of Casual Cinephilia, where enthusiastic amateurs talk very passionately about movies. I'm Ian.
I'm Lorian, and today we are doing another television series and not a movie at all. We're talking about Loki this time.
Which I think we can get away with because it is part of the Marvel cinematic keyword universe. So
this will directly affect the way you view the movies in the future, so.
Yes.
Also, it's our podcast. Deal with it.
We have nothing to prove. Oh, man. No, but we are talking about Loki today. And boy, oh boy, this was a departure from the formula of the Marvel shows so far. And of course, this is, number 3.
Yep.
So it's not like there's been too much of a formula built yet.
Sure.
Quick note. One, we're going to spoil Loki and probably other Marvel.
Yeah, just count it as the whole MCU on the table for spoilers.
Yes. And the other note is if you hear random rustling, rumbling, or heavy panting, it's probably my dog being an absolute menace.
Maya.
So
You are a menace.
if you hear a dog breathing directly into the mic, it's probably Maya.
She likes standing on my shoulder and directly breathing into the mic.
Oh my gosh. And
Here
she's
she
already
comes.
getting in position to breathe heavily into the mic. All right.
Anyway.
So this is Marvel's third foray into the short form, I don't want to say TV
Sure.
series because none of them have been TV.
Short form. Okay, so preface, I'm so tired.
Shart farm.
Short farm. I got like 4 hours of sleep because I have like a million jobs right now. And so excuse me.
Excuse her shart farm.
Excuse my short farm. Short form serialized entertainment.
Yes. I don't know. It with WandaVision, I think that one's been the closest feeling to TV.
Sure.
Though it definitely, I don't want to say broke rules. It ignored TV rules.
Sure.
And I don't know if was an artistic choice or, the creators at Marvel just not being familiar with.
I think it was a creative choice.
Well,
it was more a show about TV than a TV show.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair. There was some structural rules,
Sure.
though, that were not followed that made some of the episodes lag at times.
Yes.
But it's one of those things, especially with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you were to watch it episode by episode, week by week, I could see people having issues with it.
Sure.
But if you were to just sit down and binge it, like maybe half one day, half another, or all of it in one day.
It's what I had to end up doing because weekly was not cutting it.
Yeah,
for
and
me.
it's a much more enjoyable experience
Yeah.
watching it as, a mini series or a longer film.
Just a big old block.
Just a big old buck.
I prefer all my television
Yeah.
binge mode.
So going into Loki, it still had some of those issues, I felt.
Okay.
One of the big issues that I always struggle with is that every episode had a cliffhanger.
Sure.
And one that I'm okay with for the most part because it kind of keeps me going for each series.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting sometimes. But that being said, I think Loki, the series, it might be in my top 5 Marvel. Based off of just how unique it is. It's such a slow-paced, cerebral inspection of a character. And we really haven't gotten. I think the closest we've gotten is maybe Iron Man 3.
Sure.
With Tony Stark, and it's I'm totally blanking on the word. I don't have your excuse. I'm just dumb right now.
That's okay.
But it's inspection of Tony's PTSD.
Yeah.
But where I think Iron Man 3 faltered, I think Loki
was not being 6 hours long.
that was Iron Man 3's shortcoming.
That was the problem.
Yeah, it wasn't 6 hours long. But with Loki, it just allowed you to develop with the character, because this isn't the Loki of Infinity War.
Right.
This is the Loki, or the Loki of Ragnarok. This is the Loki of 2012.
Yeah, Avengers 1.
This is the bad guy Loki.
Right.
And seeing that character develop, I feel like I'm dominating the conversation, but I want to get this out.
No, please.
Seeing that, like, them announcing Loki, my first thought was, oh, great. We're going to have to, how are they going to do this? He's dead, know. Same with, Black Widow. I was like, what are they doing?
But they're
the character's dead
already.
But I saw the first episode, and the first 10 minutes was interesting, but I had the thought in the back of my mind of, are we seriously going to have to go through a redemption arc again for this character? Like, that seems so strange to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Tom Hiddleston's Loki.
Sure.
He's a lovable scamp, but even in his reformed hero phase of Ragnarok, he still tries to betray Thor at the end. Like,
right.
They're still, like, they now understand each other and they accept each other, but there's still that mischievous side of him of, at any point I might betray you to better myself. Like, that was still there. And I was like, well, let's see how this character development goes. But they kind of fast pace it.
Yeah.
In that first episode.
Yeah.
And he goes through some brutal therapy.
Yes.
Like, there's no other way I can describe it as.
It's a very rude therapy session.
Brutal therapy. And that episode kind of solidified it for me of like, oh, they're going a completely different direction with this. Like, this isn't we heard you liked Loki, let's make a Loki show featuring Loki kind of thing. It was we heard you like Loki, well, we're going to destroy him emotionally and create a new character out of him.
Oh, you liked Loki? Let's try again from the beginning.
Yeah, they literally deconstruct him emotion by emotion. And by the first episode, my heart hurt for him.
Yeah.
And like, they bring up several times of like, no, this is a genocidal, like, bad guy.
Yeah.
But seeing him and seeing the relatable, yes, exaggerated, but relatable, outbursts that he has, is just like, oh crap, I've seen this not only in the peers that I've worked with or had as clients in the past, but I've seen in myself. And it's just like, oh no, oh god, like, this hurts.
This show has feelings in it.
Oh, I love this show.
It's a good one.
It's so good.
I really enjoyed it.
I mean, we could make an entire episode, I think, off of the last episode of this.
We could easily do this one episode by episode, but we don't want to.
No.
And it's our podcast, and we do what we want to do.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't want to hog all the airtime, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there. Just like, man.
All good points. And I do wonder, maybe we ought to have had a guest host on this episode, because we do both come from a background where this is sort of our line of work. I mean, this isn't the intended in the show. the therapeutic element is not the intended outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I are both were used to working with clients who are not on a good path, who are not genocidal, but like who are not going the right way to succeed in this society.
Yeah.
And who go through a lot of the same stages, a lot of the same like outbursts and reckonings with themselves. I wonder if the read on the whole series would have, I mean, it must have been different for somebody who doesn't witness this arc happening over and over again.
No, so much so that though it was cranked up to 11 and kind of brutal at times, there were things that Mobius did that were tactics that I was trained to do to help a kid get through trauma.
Right.
And just like, oh, shit. It's like, I know what this is about and what this is going to do. Oh, no. And I just crushed down my... that just crushed my finger.
Painful.
It was. Okay, go, puppy.
I did not like it.
Go outside. Go. Anyways. Oh, that really hurt my thumb.
Ian has smashed his thumb between his desk and his chair arm.
You know, like a champion.
Yep, like a champion.
No, I every aspect of this show just was so well done.
The casting,
oh my god,
was just incredible.
Yeah,
well, obviously Owen Wilson just did such a good job in this character, which could have been a boring character very easily.
Yeah,
and wasn't. I don't know how to explain it or why, but he was not boring, despite his strong ability to be boring.
Though I do have one complaint.
Okay.
But it's not on Owen Wilson.
Okay.
It's on the writer. They never had him say wow.
Is that a bad thing? Because it would have absolutely broken down the show. They would have needed 5-minute ramp up back into the story to get back from there.
That's true.
Because he would have been like, Owen Wilson. That's Owen Wilson!
No, but truly though, Owen Wilson disappeared into this character. I didn't see him as Owen Wilson. I don't know if it was the hair, the hair color.
Sure.
And I don't know if that's how his natural hair now. Is he like a silver fox now?
I don't know.
Because it looked really good on him.
I guess we could look it up.
That's true. We do have...
We have the technology.
The sum of human knowledge in our hands.
It's true.
But he was phenomenal. I didn't...
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, please continue.
I didn't know how I was going to feel about a quote-unquote female Loki. But she was great. Sophie DiMartino was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
It was a wig.
It was a wig.
Or he colors his hair. It's one or the other.
Either way, if he ever goes gray, Owen Wilson,
yeah, he's
delicious.
Got it. Okay.
Don't take this from me, Lorian. Oh, sorry about popping down.
No, by all means.
No, but his presence was such a quiet intensity. Even just his investigative moments just really had purpose behind everything he did. And there wasn't a moment where you didn't feel like he didn't know what Loki was going to do. He
Say
knew. Say
that again?
There wasn't a moment where it didn't okay, as the words came out of my mouth, it didn't work as well as it did in my mind.
Okay.
He could read Loki better than anyone else.
Sure.
That's what I was trying to get across.
I have a theory that I don't think is true and is based entirely on a shirt.
Oh, do tell.
There's a shirt. A wild shirt. A shirt that destroyed my ability to watch the end of the 3rd episode the first time I saw the show because I could only stare at the shirt. It is a shirt. It is a dress shirt but the collar connects back down to the shirt. So the collar goes into a seam.
Okay.
It is worn by Owen Wilson the whole time. It's worn by Loki once he's put into his variant jacket.
Okay.
It's worn by Casey, the junk cart guy.
Okay, yeah.
It's not worn by a lot of other people. I have a theory that doesn't seem good, but if it is, the costume designers would be my favorite. Why wouldn't there be more Loki variants in the TVA that just have no idea?
Huh.
Why, maybe Owen Wilson's Loki.
Oh my god. Because no one else does wear that. But Casey
Because I
Casey
spent
does.
a lot of time staring at the other characters' shirts in the second watch through. And Casey does break the theory a little, but he could also be one. Why not?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of the dumb, shitty ones in that one scene where they're all fighting. He could just be a dumb, shitty one.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of shirts, there is a merch shirt.
Mhm.
Merch shirt.
A merch shart. There's
God.
lots of sharts today, guys. The
That
shart farm is alive and
I genuinely want to get.
uh-huh.
And it's just a simple, like, foam green
Is it the
polo.
polo with the...
But it's got
Yep.
Loki Gator, the Loki Gator.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I want it so bad.
I have plans. Okay, first of all, one of the best things about this show, for me, is that it has granted validity to literally any Loki costume I want to design for any person, place, thing, or idea I want to design it for.
Yeah.
Done. It's a Loki.
Canon.
And that is very exciting. It's technically done that for all of the MCU, but we haven't seen the ramifications
Yeah.
of that yet. We've only seen it basically with Loki so far.
Yeah.
My, calm down.
Settle down, dog.
But,
You're a good girl.
I have plans to make at least 2 Loki costumes in
Nice.
the next few months.
Well, because...
One of which is an alligator Loki onesie.
Yes. Yes.
So,
That's amazing.
so I'm real excited about that one.
I loved the character designs of
Mhm.
the different Lokis.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like old school Loki. Richard
loved-
E. Grant.
I loved that character so much.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, that's our Loki. Like, that's the Loki through the MCU up to Infinity War, but instead of dying, he survives.
Right.
So that's the literal progression of the MCU's Loki.
Right.
And just seeing that arc, I just loved. Richard E. Grant is
Yeah.
just one of the best actors out there. Like, watching him act, you can just tell he is just enjoying what he's doing.
I really loved that they put him in the stupid classic costume.
It's
They
so
did a really good job with the stupid classic costume, like, it was done correctly.
Yes. No, it was so good.
And he got just a really great little arc in there, too.
He got a great arc, but he also, like, it's very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very subtlety in its extravagance, but it's so tragic,
Yeah.
his story.
Yeah.
Because, they tell you, he hid away on a planet and yada, yada, yada. And
Mm-hmm.
he got captured as soon as he wanted to go see his brother,
Right.
and see people. And then his heroic sacrifice, his glorious purpose, which I loved that he screamed that as he was facing down death,
Yeah.
essentially. But you see how powerful he had become.
Yeah.
And what did he make? Asgard.
Right.
He built Asgard. And how would he know to do that? Like, how does he know how to build Asgard from memory? Well, it's because he built it in
Right.
his solitude.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, that is so tragic.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And he gathers the Lokis You know, the friendly Lokis, essentially.
Sure.
The ones that are trying to better themselves.
Yeah.
For the most part. And you realize, like, oh, he craves being with people.
Right. He's community Loki.
Yeah. It's just like, because he's been so deprived of it. And because he looks ancient, that means he's been out there for thousands of years, you know? It's like, oh my God, it just, there's so many episodes make my heart hurt in this show.
I think that was the point.
Oh. And we haven't even talked about the last episode with Jonathan Majors.
We haven't, but I do want to go back while we're talking about casting and bring up what is Hunter B-15.
Yes, Wunmi Mosaku.
Yes. I love her.
Yes.
She's been showing up in a bunch of things that I've been watching, and I've loved her in everything I've seen her in. She was in Lovecraft Country. She was in this. She is such a good actress.
Yes. Oh my God, the scene where she pulls Sophie to the Roxmart, and has her show her past.
Yeah.
And just in the rain and seeing the subtle change in her motions with her eye. Like, I've never truly tried to act in front of a camera, but like, I know how difficult it can be to like portray genuine emotion.
Yeah.
You know, I've learned that being a sociopath and all that jazz. But like, but like, to genuinely portray an emotion that you're not genuinely feeling, you know, as an actor. And it's like, I almost cried in that moment because she looked so conflicted and heartbroken and yet needing to survive.
Right.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's great. I highly suggest looking her up. Well, I highly suggest this show, first of all, and I highly suggest Lovecraft Country.
Yes.
So both of those shows, watch them, pay attention to her. She's really good.
Yeah. No, the casting was just spot on.
It was. Yeah, it was all good. Are you trying to pronounce a name?
No.
You have a confused face.
Oh, they're writing credits. Never mind. I just saw Stan Lee and Jack Kirby on the IMDb, and I was like, why? And then it was writing credits, which makes sense because they created Loki.
Yes.
So that makes sense. So the final episode.
Yes.
And Jonathan Majors is introduced, not as Kang, but He Who Remains, which is a it's a variation of Kang.
He's a variant.
Essentially,
he's a Kang variant.
Yeah, he's essentially Immortus, I think, is the Kang that becomes He Who Remains.
There's a whole bunch of stuff, and it's this whole show was in essence a 5.5 hour long version of that one end scene where they showed Thanos' eyes.
Essentially, yeah.
It was like, this whole thing was so we could get a glimpse and be like, oh my God, it's coming, guys.
I'm getting goosebumps just like thinking about it, though.
I assume, based on the visuals at the very end of the episode, that they're just going to have him straight up play the character instead of doing a massive CGI construct.
I sure hope so.
Yes, me too.
Because
very similar reasons, actually. Watch Lovecraft Country. Watch this show. Another phenomenal actor.
Yeah, actually, Jonathan
I'm
Majors
very
is in both of them.
excited to see him handle all of the different dimensions that there is now opportunity for him to play.
Well, and what is going to be insane about it? One, this is unprecedented for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and movies in general, because it's essentially making all of Marvel canon.
Yeah.
Like, pre-acquisition by Disney, Sony's Spider-Man,
all of
Fox's X-Men. Like, technically that is all now canon.
Yeah.
And what is even crazier is that Jonathan Majors Kang, who essentially let Thanos win. He's more powerful than Thanos. Right. He let him win because that benefited his timeline.
I mean, Squirrel Girl could take them both, but it's fine. But we need them to leave her alone so they don't sexualize the character.
Exactly. Because they will.
They will.
But, like, he is the biggest bad, essentially, out there. But that also, with the unlimited variants, means that Jonathan Majors could also play a good guy Kang.
Yep.
And a not so good guy Kang. And a gray area.
Yep.
He could play so many different characters playing this one character that can aid or attack the Avengers. And it's just like, it boggles my mind. And it's like, how does one person do that? And then you watch the final episode and you're like, oh, that person could do that. Because he just has that, like, that aura of controlled chaos.
Yeah, I've heard more praise than criticism, but the criticism I have heard has been he just went really big on the character. But I am excited about what that tells us about what he might do. Because he is an immortal being that's been hanging out for thousands of years alone.
Yeah.
I think big was the right call for the culmination of all of his plotting moment in his life. I enjoyed the way he played it. And I'm also excited that coming from that place, you can pull a lot of different threads out of that performance, isolate them, and turn that into so many different characters.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I'm excited about them.
Me too. Well, and what this character feels like, He Who Remains in Loki, feels like the evil jester.
Yeah.
Like the evil character that is been pulling the strings all along.
Yeah, he's the puppet master character.
Exactly. And
he's a little bit deranged. He's a little bit outside his own control, it feels.
But you can
very
also,
much in control of
you can see
else.
In that he could easily shift on a dime.
Yeah.
And I think that's scarier.
Yes. No, I agree.
No.
Very fun.
Nothing against Thanos.
Sure.
I think he was perfect for essentially the first chapter, or not chapter, the first book of Marvel.
Sure.
But oh my god, this is the villain that Marvel needs right now.
Sure. Well, Thanos was the universe has opened up so much wider. Thanos was the perfect villain for, like, the space age of Marvel's cinematic universe.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all can hear the garage, but every time it happens.
Every single time. It's could you close the door since Maya's downstairs? We're probably going to hear a da-dum as she tries to push open the door, but
probably. Ugh.
But man,
the second you start talking.
Anytime now. What's funny is we actually just passed it, but around like 7 p.m.-ish, the light is just perfectly that it hits the sensor on a garage door, and you can just hear Rachel go,
oh no.
And it will not close, and you literally have to go over there and hold your hand out and put a shadow on the sensor and have someone else hit it.
Gosh.
Because it's so annoying. It is so annoying. I want to make like a little like visor for it, or give it sunglasses or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work, but it'd look cool.
That's what you want.
My garage door doesn't open or close, but man, does that sensor look cool. Man.
What were we talking about?
I don't remember. Garage doors. We were talking about garage doors.
The Thanos Space Age Marvel.
Right,
We had, basically Loki for the Earthbound Marvel stuff.
Yeah. But
He
even
sort
that
of
is
heralded
celestial,
in
but yeah.
this. Well, I feel like Guardians really opened up space.
Yes.
And now that we've got time also opened up, there's just so much more. And that is it's a good place to pick up a bigger villain. Good job, Marvel.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious who. So supposedly Jonathan Majors isn't showing back up until Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania or whatever.
Yeah.
But the next set of movies, so we got Immortals, Spider-Man. Those, I'm assuming, won't necessarily. I don't know about Immortals. I know literally nothing. I've never read.
Yeah, I don't know about that
any
one
of
either.
them.
I am excited about the casting, though.
Me too. But like with Spider-Man, it can be its own thing. Like going through the Spider-Verse, essentially, which this could be. I've been trying to avoid as much as possible, but things have been thrust upon me.
Sure.
Like you just open up window like something and it'll be like so-and-so's been announced and confirmed. It's like I didn't want to know that. I want to be surprised. It's like
I've turned off Discovery on my Google page on my phone.
I've had to do that too.
I just can't.
I did that too, but I'll like log into Facebook to like one of my wife's posts and it'll just be like spoil 3 things from the next Marvel movie. It's like, come on. But like this could be a great starting point for them to introduce Miles Morales and just the different Spider-Men out there, or women, Spider-Women.
All
like
the Spider people,
Spider-Gwen. But like Spider-Man can be its own
multiverse
thing.
It's got its own bubble multiverse.
It literally has the Spider-Verse. It's coined its own name. Yeah,
I know.
But then the next movie after that, I think, is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
I feel like that one is further back than I thought it was.
I thought it was March.
I was just looking this up the other day, and I was like, Doctor Strange is further back than I thought it was.
I thought it was March, but I could be wrong.
No, it looks like you're right.
Yeah, because we've got Shang-Chi, which doesn't look like it's actually being affected by this
it looks
at
pretty
all.
insular.
Yeah. Immortals looks like it's taking place before, but I don't know. I have literally no clue, because it looks like the history of humankind.
I don't have your Wi-Fi on my phone, so it won't load. So I can't. It was complaining. Complaining fixed the problem. We got Shang-Chi.
Then Immortals, right?
Eternals.
Why do I
don't know. I didn't
Eternals.
catch it either. Spider-Man No Way Home!
No Way Home!
The What If series is being slotted in there. The Hawkeye series.
Apparently the What If series is technically canon.
Great. The Miss Marvel series is being slotted after Hawkeye, and then Doctor Strange.
Oh, is that
It is March next year.
Okay. The Marvel, it's the Marvels, right?
Thor, Love
or is
and
it
Thunder.
Miss Marvel?
It's Miss Marvel.
Gotcha. And it's 2023 is the Marvels or something like that?
I'm not there yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's in the Phase 5 and Beyond section of this article. With the She-Hulk series, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, which is November 2022 at this point.
Oh.
And then the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
I really hope they make it super bad.
I'm like so torn. Well, it's gonna be super bad. The concept of a holiday special based on any existing IP is inherently bad.
Yeah.
I've made you watch the Star Wars holiday special. You know.
I know. It hurt.
Did you watch the Lego Star Wars holiday special?
No, because you said it was
So
bad, but
bad.
in a different way.
Yes, correct. So I don't have a lot of faith for the Guardians of the Galaxy
Is
holiday
James
special.
Gunn behind it? Because if James Gunn is behind it, then it might actually be...
Yes, James Gunn will write and direct the special, which we imagine will nod as much to the Star Wars holiday special as it will the Guardians' own situation, is the article sentence. But that's speculation.
What if the multiverse started pulling in Star Wars? They have to go
No,
to Kashyyyk
I'll be
to
mad.
celebrate Life Day. That'd be terrible.
There's a little... This is a Rotten Tomatoes article. I'll link it on the Patreon if you guys want to see, just for anyone to check out.
Patreon.com/casualcinephilia.
Yes. The how it fits into the MCU section of this says, although the special will be canon, we hope it makes some canonically dubious choices, like Star Wars' infamous foray into holiday entertainment. In any event, we expect to see Groot dressed with Christmas lights and Nebula enacting her own weird version of the Gift of the Magi.
Dear Lord.
I'm so unhappy. Anyway, after that is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Gotcha.
And that's February 23.
So it's... Wow, that is far out.
Yes.
So with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, who's the main villain? Is it going to be Wanda?
Could be. Could be Wanda.
But I mean, she's... I don't know. Could it be Mephisto?
Could be all sorts of things. There's a lot of villains on the table they haven't used.
Yeah.
It just is... I'm sure that it will end up having been behind the scenes, not whoever it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or it will be just a really small story, but that doesn't even make sense with the title, so...
Fair enough. Something I learned that was interesting, I saw a tweet about it, was that in Black Widow movie, the giant Russian that arm wrestles... wow, I want to... my brain just went... David Harbour. I can't remember
I don't know.
Yeah.
David Harbour's good enough.
Arm wrestles David Harbour and he breaks his arm. That is... in the script, his character is named Iron Bear, which is a mutant from the X-Men who was part of the Russian version of the Avengers. And his mutant power is that he can transform into a bear.
That's exciting.
And it's that's the first character, essentially, that is a mutant.
Sure.
You're that's kind of cool.
I mean...
They never actually show him, but other than the limpy...
Depending on who you
broken
ask, we've had the Maximoff characters for a while. And...
Yeah, but they've been so stylistically changed that they're not.
Yeah.
They're not mutants. Though they're leaning... So in the comic books, they're not always mutants either.
Sure.
The Maximoff twins are not always mutants. Wanda in several arcs is just a flat out witch. She's just a witch. So
they seem to be striking a bit of an in-between chord as best they can with this one. Which,
I mean, was a slight retcon because of the Fox acquisition. Sure. Now they can do a bit of both, which I think is great. I like the mutant element of it. Sure. But I also like the magic element of it too. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So all that being said, so far, of the 3 shows, they've been doing pretty good. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier, though I really enjoyed it, I think was the weakest of the 3.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's also just... out of the 3 of them, it's the style of television that I least enjoy watching.
Yeah, well, see, I liked it because...
obviously good, but... Yeah.
I think I like the style because I like shows like 24 and stuff like that, and it was very similar to that.
I don't.
Fair enough.
I pretty much only watch sitcoms at this point in my life. So WandaVision, great.
Yeah.
I have watched all the shows that it was based on at every point in the show.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, Loki had a little bit of a lighter hand, even though it did have more serious elements to it, but it was essentially lighthearted in its tone, I'd say. Feels strange to say thinking about it. It had more lightness to it, even though the events nor characters were light.
Yes. I would say
maybe it's just whimsy. It's dark whimsy, and whimsy makes me happy either way.
It's definitely dark whimsy. I was going to say it's more like WandaVision was that Black Mirror style, or
sure.
Yeah, Black Mirror style, where this is more Twilight Zone, where it's that dark whimsy. Like there's still fantastical, fun things. Yeah. Whereas like WandaVision, it starts off fun.
You think it's fun, and then you realize that it's not fun.
And darker and darker, and it ends with 3/4 of the main characters dying,
or
and
not having existed in the first place.
being erased from existence. You're just like, oh,
yeah.
Oh God, like,
and then sending a poor innocent robot into existential maybe die mode,
which is one of the best fight scenes ever. Talk about
the anti-fight,
the perfect like conflict between a sentient robot versus a sentient robot is to have a philosophical debate. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's so good. And I think that's why I also really loved Loki, is that yes, there was action, but it very much felt for most of the fight scenes that neither party wanted to hurt the other one.
Sure.
And whether it was, you know, Loki fighting Sylvie or Loki fighting Morpheus, you know, other than a few malicious things like Renslayer taking out Morpheus and stuff like that, like it genuinely felt like we are at odds, we are in conflict, but I don't want to hurt you.
Sure.
Whereas in, you know, a lot of other Marvel stuff, it's like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And then we can talk it out later when you're borderline unconscious or whatever. Or it's an Avengers thing where they can just take a million punches and, you know.
Yeah.
Extravagant violence is fun to watch, but it gets tiring.
Sure.
And this was very much mental combat for most of it. Even the physical combat was mental combat.
Yeah. And there was some really cool combat choreography in this too.
Yeah. There was some things that Sylvie did where, like, when she first gets into the TVA and she's fighting the guys in the hallway and she uses the wall to prop herself up and, like, kickflip. Oh, that was so
very cool.
This was a good show.
This was a good show. We've been talking largely plot and acting. The production design for this show was so good, though.
So,
like the visuals, the whole aesthetic vibe of the show.
Yes.
So good.
Well, it's got that retrofuturism aspect. Like the TVA, everything is analog and yet hyper-futuristic, which is great. I love that aesthetic.
It's like a late 70s retrofuturism vibe we got going.
It genuinely looks like 1960s or 70s Disney's World of Tomorrow. Like that's what it felt like, you know, looking at the World of Progress from the 70s. Oh, it looked like that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. But one of the things, and we're kind of going back into the acting, I think, I could be wrong, but I think I remember reading that this is the first of the Marvel shows to utilize the volume. Which is what they used to film
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. Yeah. And so the actors were actually able to see the sets and the worlds that they were in, essentially.
Yeah. Nice.
And I don't think because they actually built the sets for WandaVision.
Sure.
Because they did the 3 camera setup
so
with a live audience.
Classic sitcom thing.
Yeah.
They went hard on that.
Yeah. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier was largely filmed on location.
Right. And pretty traditionally shot Marvel film style.
Yes. Whereas this one, they're in extravagant alien locations or an office.
Right.
And I believe I remember right in reading that they utilize the volume. And
that makes a lot of sense.
That's such a cool tool.
Yeah.
That
really
allows
is.
you to just experience the world as you're acting, and you don't have to imagine what you're acting in a green screen.
Are there any videos that are like YouTube that you know of that go through the volume stuff? I know I've watched the behind the scenes stuff on Disney Plus, but
I think there might be
we'll see if we can find some of those and link them on the Patreon.
I know Corridor Digital did a little snippet of it because they're trying to make their own virtual reality film studio, and they got invited to go check out the volume.
Sure.
So I'll see if I can find something that we can post. But yeah, like what was the name of that planet? It sounded like a distressed word. But
it's on the tip of my tongue.
Totally blanking on it.
It starts with an L.
Lamentus.
Thank you.
Lamentus. One. Yeah. Well, because I think Lamentus 2 was crashing down into it. Or whatever, I don't know.
One of them was a moon.
Yeah.
I think it was Lamentus 1.
That whole planet's aesthetic of just the
space mining town.
Well, it was like a space western, but like cyber noir lighting and just I don't know, just everything about it. And then it like went full Snowpiercer on us.
Right.
That world was so cool.
Yeah.
And they even did it wasn't flawless, but their Wunner fight scene in the town at the end where they're trying to get to the shuttle was really cool.
Yeah.
Like some of the cuts were pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But dang, that was fun. And I bet you that was fun to pull off.
Yes.
I don't know. I love when shows try to pull off a one shot. They're so cool. Still think the best one is Daredevil season 1, the hallway fight scene.
It's been so long since I've watched that show. I don't even remember.
It's so good. Which that technically is canon now.
Yep.
And
all of it.
You know, one of the things that's been spoiled for me, but I'm going to spoil it for you. But it's not confirmed yet. Okay. It's just hearsay.
Speculation.
What's his name? The actor who plays Daredevil is going to be in the She-Hulk series because she is a lawyer and he's a lawyer. And so
the characters interact in the comics
all the time
with frequency.
So
that would make sense. That's cool. I liked that actor a lot.
Yeah. He actually was going to be...
What is his freaking name?
I know so much about him and I can't remember his name. He was actually going to be... He auditioned for another role in the MCU, but he bombed the... Charlie Cox, thank you. He bombed the audition because he had been playing Daredevil so long that he wouldn't make eye contact with the people he was acting with. Like his brain was just wired to act blind. And poor guy. But if
that is why you prep for an interview, guys, or an audition.
So true. Oh man.
Yeah.
But he was great in that show.
He really was. Yeah, I enjoyed him a lot.
Yeah.
I should rewatch that.
I should too. I actually never got around to watching the Punisher series. I heard it was good.
I watched I think an episode.
I heard it was a lot darker, but I heard it was
watched
quality.
Like half of Jessica Jones, an episode of what was it, Luke Cage came after that. I dropped off around the time when that was all coming out.
Yeah.
Bop.
But yeah, I need to watch those again. Those are good. They were enjoyable.
Yeah, David Tennant's a part of the MCU officially now, I guess. If Jessica Jones is canon.
technically. Well, I mean, it's all technically canon.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. My upcoming 2 Loki costumes could be canon if I wanted. Look what you've done, Marvel. I'm really excited about what I expect to see in the Loki department at upcoming cons and things.
Yeah.
They just opened the floodgates for all the cosplayers to do insanely creative things. And obviously cosplayers take that license whether it's offered or not. But I just cannot imagine the exciting things people are thinking up having been given it.
Yeah. No, seriously. Well, like you're saying, like the possibilities are limitless.
Yeah. Limitless.
That's so cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see. I want to see a Doctor Who Loki with a giant, like is it the 5th Doctor or 6th Doctor who's got the giant scarf?
It's a good scarf.
Yes.
You want to see Loki with the big scarf?
I want to see Loki with a big scarf. That's what I'm getting at here.
Good.
That's mainly what I'm... Yeah. This was a good show. Do you have any final thoughts on it?
I mean, the costumes were really great. I did want to mention the costume designer. I took down my screen and I can't remember her name.
Christine Wada?
Thank you. Yes, I did a lot of digging into her name once I noticed that shirt. And I found out that she did a ton of extra work to make the costume for Sylvie breastfeed accessible for the actress who was a breastfeeding mother while filming this. So, like, they went in and engineered that costume, which is very, like, that's so cool. That's so much extra work for them to go through to make an armor costume breastfeed accessible.
That's great, though.
But, like, just the fact that they're willing to do that, just so cool.
Yeah.
When you look up this designer on Instagram, that's basically all you get is posts of the actress being like, guys, look at my zippers! They're right over my boobs! They did this just for me!
That's
Which is
amazing.
incredible. You know, like, that's a huge step towards inclusivity in film, is making acting accessible for new mothers like that.
Yeah.
And just good job. Also, the costumes were really cool. Aside from their accessibility, like, very well designed. I enjoyed them immensely. And I gotta make the shirt. I gotta figure it out.
You got to.
I gotta figure it out.
Kind of on the costume side, Loki in the thin tie trench coat TVA uniform. I guess it wasn't a trench coat. It was just a
little jacket.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Just looked so stinking good.
Very good.
And, you know,
I mean, Tom Hiddleston wears a suit exceptionally well.
This is true.
So they played into that nicely.
Yeah. This is a fair point. But also just like going off what you're saying, like every character was iconic in their design and unique. Yeah. Too. I don't know.
Except for the 3 men wearing the same really strange shirt.
I am on board with that theory.
I mean, listen, it's probably not true. It's a very strange stretch. But I'd be very excited if it were. I mean, it's just one of those things where the shirt is so fucking strange. Maybe it's on more people and it's just covered by collars and the angle's never right to catch it. But it's just such a strange shirt to have put on multiple people.
It was just a Loki needed clothes, so Mobius let him borrow.
They're both wearing the same shirt at the same time.
I know, but you can have I have more than one shirt in my closet.
No, that is true, but it is a strange shirt from a costume design standpoint.
No,
it's
I
not
agree.
a shirt you grab off of the rack at a store and go, we need to costume somebody and it needs to look casual.
Wonder if I can find it.
You probably can. It's just the white button-up he wears. It's going to be hard to see in that with his jacket on. If you can find an episode 3... Oh, there it is. The picture with him and Sylvie standing in purple light. Oh, yeah. There you go. See? Look at that. That collar continues down into that diagonal seam that hits his underarm.
Yep. That's true.
It's a weird shirt.
It is a weird shirt. It's
a
cool.
Good shirt. It's a cool future shirt.
Yeah.
But that shirt took work to design and make. The engineering of that is non-standard.
And kind of going back to Sylvie, played by Sophie, I really liked her costume as well.
Yeah.
Because it was feminine, but not sexualized in any way. Like, her profile, you could tell she was a lady right off the bat.
Right.
However, it wasn't like boobs or whatever. It was like she's in combat armor and she is ready to fuck shit up.
Well,
but
she was designed by a good costumer who said to herself, this character has been on the run, therefore dressing herself.
Yeah.
There's no ceremonial need for whatever nonsense they get away with saying is a ceremonial need.
Mm-hmm.
So this character's dressed like a woman who's on the run being violent would dress herself.
Yeah.
And that is always a good choice when that is what the character is doing. It's
such
good,
a good
guys.
show.
Also, President Loki. Very fun.
Yes. This is my final thought.
Okay.
My favorite scene in the entire show. There are so many great scenes.
Yeah.
Most of them are in the final episode.
Sure.
But my favorite scene in the entire series is when President Loki gets his hand bitten off by
Why
Gator
is there
Loki.
an alligator in here?
Why is there an alligator? Oh, and he just... just the most high-pitched, wimpy scream.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
The comedic elements of this show are just spot on.
Yeah.
They're so good.
That whole scene was very comic book.
Yes.
I mean, it could have been lifted right out of the panels.
Mm-hmm.
They got the vibe and the timing right on that one.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to it, if you're watching it, listen to the music of that scene too, because it's the Loki theme, but played like a 70s cartoon,
right?
Like Scooby-Doo. It's like twangy guitar and like almost like beach, like surfer style music.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And just the disgust he has with the other versions of himself betraying everyone. Oh, it's so good.
I did have one other musical note that I wanted to bring up.
Oh?
I don't think anyone could have missed it, but I really loved the Ride of the Valkyries reference.
Yes.
And then it sort of started as a reference and sort of evolved to almost the actual full Ride of the Valkyries music in classic Loki's final scene. It was like, so nice.
Oh,
so perfect.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Oh, it's so good. Another little thing, the music is by Natalie Holt, which you may not know much about her, but a little thing that I learned about her that I love is she was actually a composer on, I think, either X Factor or America's Got Talent. And on one of the episodes, she got so frustrated with Simon Cowell that she ran out on stage after he verbally destroyed someone that had talent, and she went out there and just chucked eggs at him. So
good. Excellent.
she's got that bonus check mark for me.
Who do we want to have do music for the God of Mischief?
Seriously.
There were a lot of women on this production.
So one thing that I'm not happy about,
Okay.
the director of this show, Kate Herron, who phenomenal, I
Sure.
love her. She didn't know that there was a second season
Oh.
until she watched the final episode and saw that Loki will return in season 2. So
That's not
she might not
ideal.
be coming back for the director as season 2, which I
That
would be
that would be
distraught.
disappointing. Yeah.
because she was the
Yeah.
tone she set for this show
Mm-hmm.
and the visual language that she used for the show was so perfect for the character and the world that they're creating, that like just like how Iron Man set the tone for the next 10 years of movies,
Right.
I think this is setting the tone for what the next 10 years of Marvel's going to be. It's just kind of that off the cuff, like, yeah, shit's getting weird, let's roll with it kind of thing.
Sure.
And if she's not brought back for season 2, I'm going to be upset.
Hopefully they work that shit out.
Yeah. Hopefully. But could you imagine finding out that your
That's
show's
so
been approved for a
shitty.
second season and no one told you?
Yeah.
It's like what does that mean?
Right.
Ugh. But yeah,
Don't fuck it up, Marvel.
seriously. You've done so good so far. Just keep don't fuck this up.
Just keep swimming.
Anyways, we should probably wrap this up. I think we've been
Probably
talking for too long. So, should we thank our patrons?
Yes. Jenny, Jake, Pam, and Graham.
Gemini, Jake, Pam, and Graham, you guys are awesome. You keep us rolling. And we can't wait to go into our next episode.
Yeah.
Which is...
The Green Knight.
I am so excited for The Green Knight. It looks bizarre.
Yeah.
And apparently it's based off of previous material.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of it until I saw the trailer. So I'll be going into it blind, but God, it looks good.
I mean, I haven't done any research on this. I've been very busy, but my brother and my dad are very excited. And I mean, this is Arthurian based.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Tolkien explored this particular Arthurian legend at one point. I could be talking on my ass, but that is what I have in my head as a belief right now. My dad is a really big Tolkien fan, and when my brother was like, Dad is so excited, he has to see it opening day, I was like, wait a minute, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
And Tolkien did some Arthurian legend stuff for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly certain this is one of the ones that he went into.
I can't wait. It looks so good.
I'll actually know things when we talk about it instead of just wild speculation. I'll do some research.
I love wild speculation. It's my favorite kind of speculation. Anyways, this has been another episode of Casual Cinephilia. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.